Hey everyone and welcome to Storytime. My name is Jake and today we are going to be looking at the subreddit r/entitledparents. So let's sit back, relax and enjoy some Reddit stories. Entitled Kid steals my work and presents it as her own, forgetting that I have years worth of evidence. In secondary school, I started making the groundwork for a book I wanted to publish someday. Next May, it'll officially be 6 years in the making, so I have put a lot of time into it. Tolkien spent 13 years working with barely 5 races and a single continent, while I'm not just working with multiple continents, but at least 18 separate realms, each with their own calendars, seasons, how gravity works, around 7 different magic systems, over 100 separate races, thousands of relevant animals, history regarding the races and stuff like that. Not to mention biomes, original biomes, planet size, solar system shape, constellations. Basically, I've put a lot of work into this. Every now and again, I show this off to my friends or my teachers so they can either help me, give critical feedback or things along those lines. The teacher, who I'll call Nice Teacher, or NT, had been a real help regarding grammar and so on. I know that no author is perfect, and that's what editors are for, but I want to be proud of my work, and I'm a bit of a perfectionist. To make sure I don't accidentally screw up my Word documents, I have everything saved on 2 pen drives. One is 50 gigs, and the other is 14 gigs. The 50 gig is never to leave the house, so I use the 14 gig as sort of a transporter to the other computers to do work on it. Now that that's been explained, time to talk about the swollen butt sponge that is Entitled Kid. She too is an aspiring writer, but unlike myself, she is aiming toward doing another Twilight or Hunger Games. I let her know that if she did her own thing, she wouldn't be drowned in the copies upon copies of the same story but with different people. The writing business is cutthroat and vicious, and by standing out, the audience is more likely to notice your work than Twilight 99.88876. Entitled Kid appeared to have taken this advice well, but as I have all the social graces of a broken chair, I must have missed something, because she really didn't want to talk to me after that. Around that time, there was a sudden rumour sprung from the gutters that I was a plagiarist, and that I was homophobic. Being the daughter of a lesbian, I don't really see the logic of that, but I ignored it. I had better things to do with my time. On a Tuesday or a Monday, I was with the Nice Teacher, who was helping me regarding why specific races lived in specific countries. I won't go into detail because we'll all be here a millennia, but I made some good progress. I automatically sent it to myself via email because I'm extremely paranoid about losing work, and yet I somehow forgot my drive. It wasn't really the first time I'd done this, hence why I have 2 of them, and the 50 gig never leaves the house. Best to lose only a day's work than over a year's worth. I was saddened that I had lost it, but it never occurred to me that someone would use that work. I had to ask my mum for money to get a new one because I'm broke, and it was a 16 gig. Not much different, but it suited its purpose. When I told Entitled Kid about this, while we were in the same class, she gave sympathy, and then started talking about the books she wanted to make. She had some fun ideas, not gonna lie, but she didn't have any evidence of such work. I told her to write it all down, but she said that she had gotten a new flash drive, can never remember their names, and it would be fine. I never connected the dots, so I gave a little bit of praise over it. She then started talking about a competition surrounding concepts or whatever that was coming up, and it sounded good, so I thought about entering it along with her. I wrote a short story about a folktale or campfire story that'd be in my book at some point for some fun, and entered. I didn't expect to win, I was just there for some fun. Entitled Kid obviously entered as well. When everyone gathered in the assembly to hear the winners, and what work they provided that led to such a victory, I was curious. I was sitting on my own because the rumours about me being a plagiarist and homophobe were still going around for whatever reason. One kid even telling me to leave out of fear I'd steal their work. That kid entered a dystopia about Peppa Pig, so I'm not sure what I was supposed to steal. And when it was announced that Entitled Kid had won, I was congratulatory, despite not winning. A sore loser isn't going to get far in life, after all. But when she proudly read out what she had written, my heart froze. She read out a very short draft I'd made about one of my characters, and how they felt after their species just got out of a civil war, and how tense it was. It was unmistakable. The country's name, the character's name, the species name, the mentioning of certain locations. I was horrified. Finally, the Lego pieces clicked. This embodiment of a bacterial infection had my missing drive. I was so angry that I left and proceeded to have a crying fit in the bathroom because of what Entitled Kid had changed about it. The character mentioned had gone from a hardened war hero to an edgy teen in love with a character who started the war in the first place, which had ended the lives of millions of her own for selfish gain. It felt like my baby had been mutilated. I confronted Entitled Kid about what she had done and wanted to know why she'd done such a thing. But she pretended ignorance and went to the principal of our school to complain that I was stealing her work. I was called to the principal's office along with my mum and the mum of the Entitled Kid, who was an entitled mound of dog feces. Because my memory is rather poor, I can't fully say what was said, but I'm sure most of you are familiar with it. The entitled mother went into a rant about how evil I was, and how her daughter was so perfect. She started screeching until the principal threatened to make her sit outside to shut her up. Principal wouldn't expel either of us as she wanted, but she wanted this to be done with as she takes plagiarism very seriously. She asked the Entitled Kid first about the situation, and she painted me as some kind of awful person while throwing in a homophobic slur here and there, while her mum is grinning like she had no cheeks. My mum, of course, was horrified at such language, being used so casually. Principal was obviously annoyed with it herself. She then turned to me and asked for my side. I said that Entitled Kid was lying through her teeth. I admittedly fell into the rabbit hole of rants about how angry I was that a character I had worked so hard to build had been butchered so horribly to fulfill the fantasy of a nobody. Entitled Mother got furious that I would dare insinuate that her daughter lied. Then, my mum got mad that she was yelling at me, and Entitled Kid got mad at me for making her mum mad, and I returned the favour. The principal had to bang a book on the desk to get us all to shut up, like she were a judge. And she turned to me and said that I needed proof of my claims. What Entitled Kid didn't know was that I was prepared to break the golden rule of mine for the purpose of this meeting. I brought in Mr. Dear 50 gig. I had it inside my wallet that was chained to my pants, so it couldn't be stolen, and put it in front of the principal. I turned to Entitled Kid and told her, politely, to suck it. At that moment, the nice teacher walked in to give principal some photocopied sheets of something, and I took my chance. I asked her what we had done a few days ago, and she said she was helping me with name of country that Entitled Kid claimed was hers. I asked her the name of the hero of the war in that country, and she said the name Entitled Kid claimed as hers. I asked her who started the war, and she confusedly said the name Entitled Kid had twisted into being a love interest. In the meantime, the principal was looking at what I had done on the computer and concluded that it was Entitled Kid who stole and not me. Entitled Mother proceeded to throw a massive fit, grabbing principal's computer and smashing it. I nearly died at the thought of the 50 gig being destroyed, but it was okay. This got her kicked out of the room and banned from the school, along with a fine for the destroyed property. Entitled Kid was mad that I had caught her. She yelled at principal for siding with a homophobe. My mum pointed out that she was a lesbian, so that point kind of lost any meaning. I then figured out that she was the one who was spreading these things about me, likely was a way to project her guilt to make her feel better. The principal wasn't having any of it and banned her from entering competitions along with giving back my drive. She responded by dropping it in a cup of water, and I was glad as it destroyed all of the damaged art I'd made. She didn't get more of a comeuppance than that, and the rumours remained until college. I saw her there and felt it right for me to rant. Have a safe year, people. I'm really interested in that story now. I hope they publish it and it becomes really good, because it sounds like a lot of work is being put into it, especially with like 100 different races and whatever. It sounds really good. They worked it out between themselves. This happened when my daughters were quite young, around 2 or 3. We were living in Silicon Valley, a wonderful place to live, but one that has more than a few entitled persons of all ages. I was with one of my daughters at a local children's museum. She was sitting at a table making patterns with a set of shape blocks. If you haven't seen these, they are flat wooden blocks in various geometric shapes: square, triangle, hexagon, diamond, etc. that are used to make designs. Shortly after we got there, this older boy, around 6 or so, definitely on the older side for the toddler area, and his dad come over. The dad sits down on a bench, and the boy goes to where my daughter is playing. He sits on the table and starts grabbing the blocks from my daughter's design and sitting on them. He is not trying to play with them himself. The game here is obviously to take them from the smaller and younger kid. I say to the dad, "Do you want to do something here?" He gives me this smirk and says, "Oh, I'm sure they will work it out themselves." My daughter seems unperturbed, and I am pretty reluctant to discipline another person's kid, so I just watch. This continues for a while. The boy keeps taking the blocks that my daughter is playing with, and she keeps taking new ones from the bin in the center of the table. After a while, the boy is sitting on a mound of blocks, and my daughter is down to a handful. As he is reaching over to grab the last few blocks, my daughter picks up this long, pointy diamond-shaped block and very calmly shoves it up one of his nostrils. There is a couple seconds of silence, and then the boy just runs crying to the dad. My daughter returns to working on her pattern. Predictably, the dad turns to me, furious, and says, "You need to discipline your daughter." I just smiled and said, "I am pretty sure that they just worked it out themselves." His daughter is a savage right there, wow. Karen crashed into my Jeep and expects me to pay her cash for her damages, because her children will starve if she pays to fix her car. So, some backstory. I own a Jeep, #Jeep life, fully built, lift kit, ADD bumpers, the whole shebang. So one day, I'm coming home from work, it's a summer day and the roof is off and I'm having some open top fun. Stop at a red light and suddenly, screech, bang. I drive forward slightly and go back to assess the damage, and lo and behold, it's a Mercedes C-Class. New one on that as well. Completely destroyed from the front, and my beautiful Jeep has no damage apart from a few scratches. I went to check on the passenger of the Merc. Got them out, luckily she was unharmed, these Mercs are definitely safe. Under a minute after she's out of the car, she starts screaming about how I wrecked her car. I told her calmly that she was the one who rammed into me. I think she understood how me hitting her would be impossible. I offered to share our insurance details because I knew that Mercedes damage doesn't come cheap, but she said she didn't have insurance. She insisted that I pay her $10,000 cash. How she got this number, I don't know. I said that she was just plain wrong, as number 1, she hit me, and number 2, it's her fault for not having insurance. She then went on a ramble about how her kids needed the money, and they had no money at the time, and now her kids will have to starve because she will have to fix her car, and how it will be all my fault when they are on the street tomorrow. Yeah, on the street with a Mercedes my butt. That is why you should have insurance. But no, she said that she would call the cops if I didn't pay her. I refused, as this is just dumb, so then she called the cops. Yeah. Cops came, assessed the damage, and asked us what happened, and she said, and I quote, "He backed into me at full speed on a red light. SMH. Then they asked me what happened and I told them. And it became a he said she said situation. Luckily, a shopkeeper was there and saw the whole thing and even captured it on surveillance camera. Needless to say, I came out on top. Cops got her for reckless driving and driving without insurance. She then started yelling at the cops about how they would just let a criminal get away. They explained that I did nothing wrong and they now had video evidence. The partner of the cop came to me and told me if I could drive, I can leave. So, I got in my Jeep and left. Never want to have a Karen experience again. Not worth it. And now, Karen wants to sue me now over the post from the Jeep accident. So Karen read my post. Who knew? I certainly didn't. I just received a direct message from Karen in all caps as expected. She basically said that how I already destroyed her car and left her penniless and her children starving. I'm so over this. And now she wants me to take down the post because it defaces her. She said, and I quote, "You know this is illegal, right? You have no right to talk like this about me. You already wrecked my car that I have to pay out of pocket for now. If you don't take this down immediately, I will report you and sue you for attacking me." I explained to her that neither was her real name mentioned nor the place where this happened. The only thing mentioned was her car and how she was being a big jerk. But no, she threatened to sue me for defacing her beautiful reputation. How? So yeah, that happened. I advised her against this, but she said that she had my license plate number, and if this post is not gone by tomorrow, I will be receiving some papers. I am not worried at all. She does not have a case, as I didn't mention anywhere her name or any revealing info, at all. So this Karen literally has a Mercedes and is saying like, "Oh, my children will starve if you don't pay for it out of pocket." Okay, lady. Hey everyone, I hope you all had a really good day and that you enjoyed that video. If you want to check out some other videos, then click on screen right now or check out the playlist down below. If you enjoyed that video, then please do leave a like. And if you want to submit your own stories, then you can do so by joining the Discord in the top link in the description. But thank you so much for watching and I will see you very soon.